Rolling in hot for another opinionated Renegade Aviator update. Today, the USS Midway in San Diego, California. Hey. Here I am looking at the ferry and bitching about the phone. Welcome. We're gonna take a boat ride. Oh, it's gonna be great. We're gonna take a boat ride. Oh, we can hardly wait. Are you excited yet?
I am. Going to the Midway.
Great. We're going to the Midway. Oh, look, there's a pilot. Pilot boat, that is. Anyway, go to ussmidway.org to learn more about this ship. We're going to get started on the interview right now. Let's go. I'll come back to this airplane, but right now I need to find the poop deck. Nope, let's go to the flight deck. All right, well, I guess you can tell we are here on the USS Midway in San Diego. And so this is kind of where the Renegade Aviator started, back in San Diego. MCRD San Diego, a United States Marine, for boot camp. I went to San Onofre or Camp Pendleton, California for my infantry training. And I've been at North Island. There's boats over there where they have a boat yard. So San Diego is the U.S. Navy. San Diego is the U.S. Marine Corps. And I'm grateful today to just be showing you the Midway, the USS Midway Museum. So we're going to encourage you as we go through these to have you come out and visit aviation and military museums, because they are an asset to this country. It's an asset to history. And I'm not here to give you a tour. This is not a tour. This is not a documentary. But I'll tell you what, we have got some cool stuff set up with other museums where you're going to see Renegade Aviator behind the scenes doing some cool stuff that the average person doesn't get to see. In the meantime, buy your tickets, come on out to these museums, and let's start. Here we go. Well, back in the day, right, I'll tell you a story about my F-8 pilot, my F-14 pilot, and my F-18 pilot, how we had an argument in the hangar one day. And it goes back to basic aviator skills, as I call it. I say shut up, show up, and be excellent. Well, pilots like to run their mouths. We show up, and excellence is demonstrated. So part of what I'm trying to do in these new videos is to give you a skill set section of the video. And so there's one thing when I train pilots and when I coach pilots, whether they be a jet aviator or flying a J3 Cub, there's procedures, profiles, flows that we learn. And here's one of them. Takeoff power, pitch level, pitch up, flaps approach, positive rate, gear up, blue line, flaps takeoff, blue line in 1,000 feet, flaps up after takeoff, check. Now what the hell did I just talk about? And that is a simple stall recovery, go around missed approach procedure or flow that you'll notice. I can sit here on a beautiful day like this in San Diego and I can rattle it off, right? Takeoff power, pitch level, pitch up, flaps approach, positive rate, gear up, blue line, flaps takeoff, blue line in 1,000 feet, flaps up after takeoff, check. That fast. So these are the kind of procedures and flows that pilots had to learn. So a plane like the F-14 behind me was a plane that you still had to fly. And today we've made things easy. We want to level the playing field. We want to make it so that almost anybody can fly an airplane. But aviators still have skills that need to be practiced. They still need to do things a certain way, because in the end, what we're trying to do is to reduce or eliminate human error. You can never eliminate human error, but you can reduce the chances of a serious mistake. And that procedure, that flow that I gave you, is for a stall recovery, and it can also be used for, like I said, a go-around missed approach, but to learn and practice skills that a lot of aviators they don't need to do today, because everything is automated. We talk about AI, we talk about automation, we talk about diversity and inclusion. Well, god darn, you know what? Aviators were created, they were not born. And the title aviator means something, and it means excellence. So we're standing here on the deck of the USS Midway, Excellence, man. This is where excellence shined every single day. If not, you're in to drink. One of the number one things we get asked at air shows is, can I sit in your jet? So we hear this all the time. And you go to an air show and you're there to fly and you're there to perform. And even if you're static, but you flew in, you know, we just can't allow any more people into the cockpits of airplanes. But even museums, it's rare to be able to get into the cockpit of an airplane. And so it's kind of a kudos to anybody that has a museum or anybody at an air show that can allow people to sit in the airplane. When I was a little kid, it meant a lot to me, and it means a lot to the fans. I wish I could put you in my jet at an air show, but when we're flying air shows, we just simply, out of safety reasons, can't do it. But, you know, something to think about.
Well, even Mrs. Renegade Aviator loves a cockpit tour, and she loves to handle the control stick. So, like a lot of people, anyway. Mrs. Renegade Aviator, ladies and gentlemen. She puts up with me. What can I say? Surely you can't be serious. I am serious.
All right, so wrapping it up, you know, we talked about automation. We're talking about, or at least last time I talked to you, we talked about AI in aviation. It's just a fact, right? The guys that flew the plane behind me, the F4, this was one of the most, it was the most advanced fighter of the day. And now we're getting into fighter jets. I mean, when I went and flew the F-16, it was one of the easiest fighters I ever got to fly in my life, one of the easiest airplanes to fly. So automation has made aviation more diverse, and AI is going to take the aviator out of the cockpit completely. And I'm not going to sound like a broken record on this, but it's a fact of life. And I'm going to bring this full circle into the air show community. Back in the old days, man, when I went to see an air show, it was an F4 like what's behind me. The Blue Angels flew them, the Thunderbirds flew them. And this thing came over your head at 200 feet in two afterburners blaze and made a bunch of noise and made all the babies cry and car alarms go off all over the airport. Imagine 6 of these aircraft flying together with men that knew how to fly airplanes. And nothing against the current group of pilots. But we've had to make aircraft easier to fly because the whole concept of combat is to deliver firepower and destroy the enemy. So I get it in some regards. I get it that in aviation or in the airlines, we want to have airplanes that are simple to fly, reliable and safe. I get that. But those of us that like to call ourselves aviators, we got into this because it wasn't easy. It wasn't safe. And that's why we smile and we say, hell yeah, it's dangerous. But even then, we need to become, and we had to become, risk managers. We need to manage the risk of flying an aircraft. As we move into artificial intelligence, just like when we had initial automation in aircraft, things will seemingly become easier. More people will be able to fly the airplane. No strength is required to fly an airplane that you used to have to be fit and ready to go. In modern aircraft, that's not so much the case. But AI will replace aviators unless we perform better, unless we don't let it die. So I'm going to come full circle to air shows. When I see drones at air shows, which we are now, 20,000 drones. I just saw this in China. 20,000 freaking drones that put on an air show performance. I can't compete with that in my TS-11 ISKRA. And here's the other comment. When you come to these museums, this is not AI. This is really Dave Costa, the Renegade Aviator, on the deck of the USS Midway. No YouTube video, no AI will replace the reality of getting out here and supporting these people and the aircraft and the museums and the hard work and the history behind all this. But air shows will guide, and we're seeing it already, like I said, drone air shows. Drone air shows. We're seeing it already. You'll see 2 F-35 acts at the same air show flying the same damn airplane because we don't have the diversity of aircraft that we used to. Everything now is multi-role, single platform, and it's getting a little bit boring, I guess. But you know what? I'm the old guy of today. I wonder what that World War II pilot said 10, 20 years ago. He was the old guy of yesterday, and now they're gone. So, a reminder, AI cannot replace coming out and being present in aviation, being present in your cockpit, managing risk, and never let that goddamn computer take control. When I do a live and I ask a question, and one of my tens of fans gets back to me and says, hey, do this, I'm going to do it. So, Pete, this is for you. And I may have picked the wrong airplane, but this one says Marines on the side. So I chose to stand in front of this. This is the A6 Intruder, a kick-ass ground attack aircraft. That's what the A stands for. It's the A6. There's a cool movie. Go watch Flight of the Intruder. Really cool Vietnam era movie. But this airplane was a carrier-based jet, and it was a workhorse. So, Pete, thank you for listening. Thank you for suggesting. Evidently, you were involved in either this or in the Prowler, which is a 4-seat version of this. I'm oversimplifying. So all you experts will tell me that, oh no, it's not the exact same airplane. But there is a Prowler across the deck. But I chose this one because I'm a former Marine.
The deck of an aircraft carrier is extremely short for both takeoff and landing, and the older jets had a much higher ref speed or approach speed, making it even trickier. Today, modern technology has improved upon carrier landings. They're never going to be easy, never going to be totally safe, but never say never. Listen to this. This is from AvWeb, but this was an announcement from the U.S. Navy.
You know, to earn a set of Navy wings meant one thing. To earn those wings of gold, you needed to qualify on the carrier. And so I'm standing at the end of the runway, basically, on the USS Midway. And behind me, somewhere there in the distance, you'll see an F-4 Phantom at about the position they would be when they caught a wire and trapped. And it's a short run. And it was a hard thing to do, and it still is a hard thing to do. But before automation, landing on a carrier, you needed to have a big set of balls, number one, and you need to have the excellence to back up your ego. But today, and I'll try to show this article here in the video, or at least give you a link to it. I was reading in AvWeb that the Navy has now decided to suspend carrier qual as a criteria to earn your wings of gold. And that's kind of frustrating, I guess. But it all goes part of the course of how aviation is changing and how aviators are becoming a thing of the past. It's hard to land on the deck of a carrier, and it's stressful to land on a carrier. And some people may not be able to do it. Some people may not be able to become a naval aviator because they couldn't suck it up and do this. I'm not a naval aviator. I've never landed on the deck of a carrier. So before you start becoming an expert on me and telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about, I don't. But to wear those Navy wings of gold, you needed to hit a certain bar, and that bar was high. Otherwise, you're just like an Air Force pilot, you know. And that's great if you're in the Air Force. I'm sorry to offend anybody. I wasn't an Air Force pilot either, but I am an aviator. And I respect those people that did the hard things, that met the standard. But the reality is, as we move forward, warfare is changing. Pilots are now replacing aviators. You hear the trend in this video? You hear the trend? It's up to you and me to keep aviation alive, to keep history alive, and to get out there and fly these damn things. We live in the greatest time in aviation history. We have all the new toys, but we still have a respect for those aviators before us.
before you get your panties in a knot, I need to give a nod out to the Air Force because we are going to have a great interview next week, and it's something that I have been neglectful of. The 390th Air Museum out of Pima. I'm going to interview, I have interviewed, oh, there's Mrs. Renegade Aviator, a 104-year-old pilot of 3 wars. Talk about respect and honor. USS Midway now, 390th on the next video. Here we go. Let's continue.
Okay, well, 22,000 hours and 200 different types of airplanes I've had the pleasure of flying, and this one behind me is still on my bucket list. So we're talking about automation and jets and artificial intelligence and the future of aviators and the past of aviators, and but you still have to have a goal, and I still have a goal. I've been doing this for 45 years. I've been blessed to fly airplanes for 45 years, and one airplane stays on my bucket list, and it's the F4U Corsair. So CAF, oh my God, you really don't want the Renegade Aviator joining CAF, do you? But if that's what it takes to get to fly one of these, it's on my bucket list, and by the grace of God, I may get to fly one. In the meantime, if any of you remember the TV show Baba Black Sheep or Black Sheep Squadron, man, that did it for me. Watching that show made me a fan of this airplane.
I'm offended where the trash cans are.
Okay, so we were at the hangar one day, and everybody's just stopping by, drinking beer, drinking scotch, drinking whatever we could find. And I had an F8 pilot, the F8 Crusader that you see behind me. He flew F8s in Vietnam. I had an F-14 pilot, and we just showed you the F-14 earlier in the video, and we had an F-18 pilot, a lowly F-18 pilot. So I've been talking this whole video about how it was always better in the past, and the future made everybody a bunch of sissies. Well, this was right in front of us. The F8 guy thought he was the best aviator known to man, and he groused, he's chewing on a cigar. He goes, you know what, you kids, you didn't know how to fly shit. You know, today, when I flew the F8, you had to be a man to land an F8 on the deck of a carrier in the middle of the Vietnam War. That's where the true men were made. But he gave a little nod to the F-14 pilot that still had a handful of an airplane to land. And both of them ganged up on the F-18 pilot because they had, and I'm going to screw it up, but he had enough automation in the F-18 that caused the other 2 guys to call him a little baby, a little sissy, because he had it easy and they had it so hard. So half the stuff you hear us grousing about as aviation changes, and it always, you know, the only thing constant in life is change. It's all the same. It's still the same. The World War II guys poked fun at the Korean guys, and the Korean War guys poked fun at the Vietnam guys. And even on the deck of an aircraft carrier, you can get an F-8 pilot, an F-14 pilot, and an F-18 pilot, and have them all pissed at each other until drink number 3, where they were all best friends again. This is Dave Costa. I am the Renegade Aviator. See ya.
Words of gratitude, my friends. Thank you for listening, and thank you to those souls that gave so much for this great nation. It's over. Now the bar.
Well, when you're done doing stuff, you need to stop at the office. So we're currently at the office. We're not taking any phone calls. See ya.